Happy Wednesday. And what a Wednesday it is. You know, when you have a laptop and travel, you never know where you're going to be. And I was sharing with my guest before we started here, coming to you live today from Walt Disney World, all places. I see for sure. But what are you watching, just in case you were wondering? It's the Imperfect Action live stream. Why do I call it the Imperfect Action live stream? Because I've seen too many people wait around the perfect time to do anything with lives. Hey, spoiler alert, there is no such thing as the perfect time. Just take the imperfect action. Who am I? I am a fence maker, former corporate burnout survivor, turned kingdom builder. You're a kingdom builder. What's kingdom building all about? What? It's about you taking the next step in your life and start living that life of significance. Stop chasing for success all the time because it's a never-ending race. Start pursuing significance. Success follows right along behind it. That's what kingdom building is all about. A couple more things. Hey, next Friday, the virtual Friday whiskey hour. It's an opportunity to bring people together, have an interesting conversation as we close out our end of the week. Maybe sip your favorite beverage if you want to, but it's always an insightful conversation. I Mark, you've been to the virtual Friday whiskey hour.
Yep,
Always have some
they're
interesting
fun.
conversation. Do you agree?
Yes, they
Yes.
are. Great
And
people.
yes, yes, it is. And every other Tuesdays, the Iron Sharpens Iron community. Go ahead and stop on by to that. An opportunity to bring people together and just have some insightful conversation. That's what I love about that is bring people together and have conversation. But enough about that. It's time to get into the Imperfect Action live stream. Today's guest may be known by his master's degree in organizational management or his Bachelor of Science degree in business information systems or work over the past decade in Toastmaster. You know, I'm a Toastmaster as well. I don't know if you knew that, Mark. I'm a Toastmaster. Or possibly by the multitude of certification acronyms that follow his email signature because of his love for good red wine. And but his passion to continue his motivational and positive attitude as he once shares the truths that many seem to avoid through their own lives. Mark, what a great honor to have your Mark and Trek, and I appreciate you stopping by the Imperfect Action Live. How are you doing today? How's everything going today?
Hey, Rob, thank you so much. I'm excited about this. And as you said, we know each other from your virtual Fridays, and it's been exciting to learn and meet the people. But today is
Yeah.
awesome. I'm not far from you in a lot of ways. I'm in southern Mississippi right now, spending some time with my
Okay.
family down
All right.
here. And we have a storm coming through. So I hope the lightning and the thunder doesn't
Oh,
impact our connectivity. But I'm doing
yeah.
wonderful.
Well,
Thank you for
this is
asking.
definitely rainy. This is definitely rainy season in this part of the world. So pretty every day, I'm in South Florida. Every day now we're getting rain, and sometimes those rainstorms can be pretty intense. But it's a daily occurrence right now. It's usually around between 3 to 4 o'clock. You're going to get a little bit of rain. That's just the way it is. Don't know why, but that's the way it is in South Florida. So that's just part of it. You talk about your love for red wine. I lived for a period of time in Belgium, in southern Belgium. So I was a 15-minute drive from
Wow.
the border of France. So I started getting real appreciation for the French red wines. You got to visit some French, pretty cool French wineries. Belgium's actually known for their beer. That's what a lot of people don't realize. Belgium will tell you, they believe it, and they make some great beers. It is the beer capital of the world. And I didn't realize that until I got to Belgium. You probably a lot of people think Germany, but no, it's Belgium. They have some amazing beers in Belgium. So
I did hear about that as far as Belgium goes, but wine is
yeah,
quite a story, and it's such a passionate beverage for me. And that's what I love about it. And I get
yeah,
chills even talking about it. But I love those deep,
yeah,
dark, very characteristic red wines. And the Cabernet Franc,
yeah.
not the Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet
Okay.
Sauvignon actually started with
Yeah.
the Cabernet Franc brand. I mean, that's where Cabernet Sauvignon came from. But that Cabernet Franc has just a little bit more depth, a little bit of a pepperier taste.
Yeah.
Love that value that you can bring out of that.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm not much of a wine drinker. There's one wine that I really kind of gravitate to. It's a Pinot Noir, just because it's a lighter wine, a little bit more fruity taste. So I do like a Pinot Noir.
Mhm.
My wife loves the dry reds when she drinks wine. But the Pinot Noir is kind of the one. If I'm going to drink a glass of wine, that's kind of what I'll gravitate towards. So
If you ever get a
just comes
chance to
down to
go
that
to,
personal choice.
and I'm with you so much. If you ever get a chance to go to a winery during harvest season, I suggest going
Mm,
to the vineyards and actually tasting the grapes
yeah,
themselves. Go taste that
yeah,
Pinot Noir grape. Go taste that Cabernet grape. Go taste them
yeah,
right off the vine before
yeah,
you go to your next tasting. It will bring a whole new aura to your palate. It's an exciting
yeah,
process of knowing
yeah,
more about that grape before you drink that wine that comes out
yeah.
year, two,
I've
10 years
got it.
later.
I, yeah. I mean, I've had cheese plates and charcuterie plates. They actually have the wine grapes on there. Not the table
Nice.
grapes, more the wine grapes. So they're definitely a different taste. They're definitely a different taste, different flavor. And so yeah, it's an interesting, an interesting thing. But I have had the opportunity to visit like a couple wineries in France. The one I remember the most was the Tattinger Winery, which Tattinger they make champagne. And one other thing I learned about wine, like name champagne, it cannot be called champagne unless it's made in the Champagne region of France. Otherwise,
That's
it's
right.
just a sparkling wine. There's no such thing
That's
as a
correct.
California champagne. It's a California sparkling wine. It's in Bordeaux, Chianti. They all have to be made in that region of
Mhm.
where it come from. France, Italy. I know South Africa is a big producer of wine. Australia is a big producer of wine. So I know just enough about wine to make me dangerous, I guess.
I know enough about it that I've talked to quite a few sommeliers and been to quite a few vineyards. I've been to France, I've been to Italy, been to California, and it's fun to talk to the sommeliers, the people who are truly heartfelt into their wine. And I just love that. And to taste
Yeah.
the wine with them, and they can bring out some flavors from wine you never think about. I never think about. And then they will talk about maybe some of the ginger. They can talk about some of the wood that comes out of it, and not just it's a woody taste,
Mhm.
but here's a cedar, here's an
Yeah.
oak, here's a redwood. And when you taste it with them, it opens up a new door to tasting wine and enjoying the wine.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you develop palate, you can taste those notes. It's a whole new ball game. And
It does.
you don't need an expensive price on a bottle of wine or a bottle of whiskey or whatever to make it good. Um, just well, how it was made and the taste.
And that's a
But
funny
all right,
thing that
enough
you
about
mentioned.
wine. Enough about wine.
Well, just one
Yes.
more quick thing about
Yeah.
that, Rob, because when you
But,
just mentioned that, because there's a lot of box wines. People will throw up their hands. No, I'm not going to drink a box wine. That's a cheap wine. And there are some. There is no doubt about it. But there are also some
yeah.
good box wine. So don't throw those to the
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
I agree. There's
Yeah.
some 1995 boxes or whatever it might be in your area that are not good wines, and price doesn't make it good. But there are some good box wines out there for a
Mhm.
decent price, and it is easy to drink. And I like to have a glass or two before bed, into the evening, and it's just a
Yeah.
better way to do it. It saves me a lot of money to be able to get a
Mhm.
good box wine over than
Yeah.
buying bottles at a very high price. It's like the
Yeah.
values we're going to talk about
All right.
today, and
I
that's a
know
good
you.
way to start wine.
Yeah.
And the values we start about today with people and how we treat each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you said this being this several weeks ago, and I don't get there's actually it's a perfect time you to come on with everything that is going on in the world, with everything that transpired this past weekend, because you're about unity. And unity is something we need now more than ever in this
We
country,
do.
in this world. We need to come together as people. Quit being so tribalistic about everything, and let's come together. Start looking commonalities that bring us together, not those things that separate us. There's always going to be things separated. I don't have to agree with everything that everyone says, but there are some commonalities that we all have. We can all find them.
We can, but we have to look,
All
Rob.
find
You are
them.
exactly right. We can find those commonalities if we want to. But as we talked about previously,
Right.
also, how much of our actions, how many of our actions are based on a prior learning, friends, family, work, school, or from a culture that we've been around? We are
Hmm.
most like the five friends we hang around with the most. And of course, that expands to
Yeah.
family, to your
Yeah.
work, but a lot of the things that we do is because someone else has done it and we copy it. I have several articles on this that I talk
Hmm.
about. How about a child? When you're a child or you see children, they don't care if you're maybe challenged in some way, if you have a different color. That's not their issue. What they're interested in is having
Yeah.
fun together. And why do we grow out of that,
Hmm.
Rob? Why can't we all think about doing some of the positive things that you're doing, helping people communicate? Let's all be
Yeah.
together in what we do and find that good, right?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think some of it, you mentioned that we're going to be like, those 5 to 10 people we spend most of the time with. And that's true. It's just like what, your grandmas would tell us when we were a kid. You show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And there's so much truth in that. And I think some people, they get comfortable with that. They may not believe, they may not believe everything, but they're just comfortable with that. And they're not willing to rock the boat and kind of push back on beliefs, on things that are being said, on what the way things are being said, because they're not going to be part of the crowd anymore. But that's not leadership. That's just being a sheep. And we need real leadership right now. And leadership is taking that stand of what is right.
And one of the things I like what you're saying, one of the biggest steps that anyone can make in leadership is asking a question. When you see something
Hmm.
happen or you hear someone say something, not rudely, but ask about it. Don't question it in a way of negativity, but say, why do you think that way?
Yeah.
Why do you think that happened? What was it about what just happened that impacted you the most?
Hmm.
What can we do to open up those questions and have a new sight on what we do, where
Yeah.
we're going, and how do we want to get there?
Hmm. Yeah. It's just, I mean, the events that happened this past Saturday, and it was it was a lot of it. I had a lot of different emotions from it. It was alarming, and the other thing that was more alarming to me is to see some people's reaction afterwards. That they
So
were
true.
upset that the assassination did not happen. And I'm going to be honest. I don't get that mindset at all. If you're that type of person, just get away from me. I don't want anything to do with you. And if you're that type of person, and I'm employing you, guess what? Next time you come in, I'm giving you. You're getting your walking papers. I'm done with. I never want to see you again. And it's that type of disunity that's going to destroy us.
And that's one
And
of
I'm
the
not
things
saying,
that,
I don't make this a political topic. I'm not saying you have to agree with the in this case, the politician. Um, because there's a lot to disagree about. I get it. But to say you wish death on somebody, that's just a demented, perverted mindset that needs to be gone, done with.
where did they learn that? That's the biggest question. And I've got an email I'm going to be responding to in the next day or two, maybe by this weekend, that goes in that same direction. And I don't want to take this into political, but the party of the person who made that shot compared to the party of the person they shot at, and how they think
Mhm.
still that affiliation is the problem. People are so blind and they wear blinders just because they have a D, a R, an I, or a D and L by their name: Republican, Independent,
Yeah.
Democratic, or
Yeah.
Libertarian. They think because they have that by their
Yeah.
name, not no longer is it a belief, but it's part of their action. That, well, I've got this letter by my
Yeah.
name. This is how I have to be. And that's wrong. That's totally wrong. As you just mentioned,
Yeah.
if somebody says that or does something like that, ask the question, why do you feel that way? Where is the value? One of my domains,
Mhm.
where'sthevalue.com. There is no value in that, like
Yeah.
there's no value in anger. When have you ever
Yeah.
seen someone that's angry be someone that you want to follow, that you feel you should follow,
No.
that you feel would be
Yeah.
beneficial to follow?
Yeah.
Too many times we do because we get into situations of insecurity. But why would we
Yeah.
want to be angry like someone else?
Yeah. Yeah. And you may, I'm sure you've seen this video by Scott Galloway, a professor at New York University, about 3 months ago. He talked about a lot of stuff, but the one thing that really resonated with me is the insidiousness of social media. And I think this is where a lot of it comes from, that people feel powerful behind a keyboard. They can, do a video and think they're powerful and think there's no ramifications for what they just posted or what they just said. Um, and yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. And i- if you haven't watched that video, and anybody out there hasn't seen that video, go watch it. It went viral. And he says, though, there's so much truth in what he says about how just destroying ourselves, how this disunity, and how we got here.
And a
And
lot of times I will
I
not.
yeah, yeah, well, yeah. And
I don't
I've
watch
always
those news.
had a yeah,
I don't watch them
and
because that
I've
gives
always had a
them
deep
another visit. I don't want to give them a visit.
yeah,
I hear from somewhere else,
yeah,
great. But that's one of the things too many people are based on. Well, they were visited 1 million times. They were visited 100,000 times. And people buy into it because of that. I have a friend of a friend that
yeah,
is on the internet all the time. And a lot of the things that they talk about are based on Facebook. And anybody, as you're
yeah,
mentioning, can type anything on Facebook. It doesn't mean it's not fact, it's not reality, but they buy into it and they pass it on to others. And that's one of the problems that we have, the
yeah,
people that listen to that and they carry it on with them like a badge.
yeah, yeah. And it's one more thing. Just I mean, the conspiracy theories have already started about what happened on Saturday. I just think, all right, fine. Well, let's just let this play out a little bit, and let's have a little bit of faith that those in charge will give us the information. And I think if that were to happen, give us all the information. I think that good step towards creating some unity.
I think that's true too. And
I just
I'm
do.
so sad about what happened. And I cannot believe somebody would do that. I don't, taking someone else's life is, why does someone even think that's valid or valuable in any way, manner, shape, or
Yeah,
form? That is sad. And like we talked before, it doesn't matter if you're whatever party that you're in, to take someone else's life is wrong if it's not in self defense.
yeah,
And anyone that thinks that that's good. But one thing that we have seen from this is that both presidential candidate, our president and Trump is a presidential candidate, former president, are both going to what my speeches are about. And that is about unity and to be
yeah,
caring, helpful, and non prejudice. And I love that they're picking that up and I'm sending
yeah,
information to them. I'd love to speak to them. I'd love to bring my speech to them.
mhm,
I'd love to coach with some of them
yeah,
because they're so right and they're on the right path now that they didn't think about before.
yeah,
It seems obvious
yeah.
now, but why didn't it seem obvious yesterday?
Yeah. Yeah, and then, and this kid that did the shooting, I believe he was a social outcast who didn't feel he fit in anywhere, and he's going to go out with a blaze of glory. And I mean, he had to know he's not getting out of that alive. I mean, he thought he was getting out of that alive, okay. Um, but I think it was his opportunity to leave his mark and go out in a blaze of glory. And if somebody had reached out to him 5, 6 years ago, and just kind of created that relationship with him to bring him into whatever, that unity with him. Who knows what his life could have turned out to be?
That's a great point, Rob. And that's what we need to do is to get this out to more people. And it starts with our school systems. How much hate
Yeah,
do we have in our schools? I love football. I played it in high school. I love basketball. I played it in high school. Love baseball. Played it in high school. Played softball in college. Played soccer in college. I love sports. But the
mhm,
anger, and especially in professional basketball right now, how it's just, I can't believe how it's they're advertised that these people are angry with each other and what they're saying about each other. That's not the sport. That's immaturity and
Yeah.
insecurity of the players involved. They don't need that. It's not
Mhm.
helping anyone, and it is hurting the fans. It's hurting the sport, and it's going to
Yeah.
happen more and more. It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
That's going to be cut back. And what do we do then? I love sports, but any of
Yeah.
this anger that comes
Oh, I
out,
love sports too.
any of these prejudices,
Yeah. Yeah. I love sports as well too. And the one thing I really love about sports, and I am very passionate about a couple of my teams. And one in particular, the Ohio State Buckeyes. I am passionate about them. And I have friends that, they're passionate about Michigan football. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but they are passionate about Michigan football. But you know what? We can joke with each other about it. We can have fun about it. We can still be friends. And getting back to what you say about anger. I've had the opportunity, my wife and I, to do work in the mental health space, and that's when I really came to the understanding anger is never a primary emotion. It's always a secondary emotion. There's always something underneath it which creates that anger. And sometimes we just got to peel that back and figure out what that is. What it is, make some of these, 20-year-olds, whatever, so angry about everything in life. What is it? What's going on?
where are they learning it from? That's my first question. And that's what we want
Yeah,
to ask, just like the person that shot at the president, vice president. I'm sorry, make it's a Biden mistake there. That shot at the former president. That was so childish. Where was his learning that that was value?
yeah,
Who intrigued him
yeah,
to think that any form of pain or hurt or killing was valuable to anyone, and especially him? Like you said, he's going to go out some kind of glory he
yeah,
made for himself. Where did he ever pick up that that was
yeah,
glorious? It's terrible that we even do
yeah,
that today amongst our newscasters. I mean, I could get into several things. If you read my
yeah,
post, my blog on my website, you'll see some articles that I've written. But this is all crazy that we learn this and we take this forward when, again, there's no value for them, there's no value for anyone else. And then how
mhm,
many people end up in jail, in prison, and all of a sudden they've lost their what? Their freedom. What is so beautiful about the United
yeah,
States of America? The freedoms that we have. And then to watch people give it up,
yes,
excuse me, and go to jail where they've got a sheriff's department then looking after them like a
mhm,
mother and a father. How can that be valuable?
yeah,
I have to talk with them, and I'm reaching out to them
yeah,
into our corrective services so I can, and we'll be able to find out more.
yeah,
Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to be in a locked up house where you're jailed? You eat what they tell you to eat, that you eat when they want you to eat, you watch TV like they want you to
right,
eat, no, to watch TV. Why is that a way of life? Why is that a valuable way of life? You can do more,
yeah,
and people don't recognize that. We all can do more. We all can do better. But like you said, we need to get that out to more people and more people and more
mhm,
people. And it
mhm,
starts in our school systems, but it doesn't end there because maybe it should say it starts with our family first, then our school systems, then our social media, and then our employment. It's got to be a subject that we all share. Because back to the sports, to me, there's nothing better than watching two great teams play each other in a close game. And I personally like to watch the underdog win. I love the New Orleans Saints
yeah,
because I was born down here. I love the Denver Broncos because I live in Denver. But I cannot put down a good play by any team. I want the Broncos to win, of
yeah,
course. I want the Saints to win, but they can't
yeah,
always do that. But to have a good
yeah,
play, see a good pass play, a good running play. In basketball teams, watch a good slam dunk. In baseball, knock a home run. It's always beautiful no matter who
yeah,
does it. But we've got to be able to understand that value. Don't get mad. Don't be angry.
yeah,
Don't hate that other team. But again, share that value with a person that stood out, who did something better than someone else. Not in a negative way, but they showed where they have practiced enough that they can be good, and they're going to do it in front of you as you're paying to see the event. Let's enjoy it. Let's build that joy for all the things that we do good and enjoy others that are doing the same.
The true art of sportsmanship is, you're trying to beat your opponent's brains out during that or whatever it is you're playing. But at the end, you shake hands. Hey, great game. Win or lose, you shake hands.
And I'm amazed now. There's always been boxing. Of course, you're in a ring, a boxing
Right.
ring,
Yeah.
and you get in there and you box. And there was a wrestling ring when I was growing up. You get in there and you wrestle, but you have a signed contract. You both know you're going to get into that ring and you're going to
Yeah.
be angry or hateful or just be good at what you do, but you know it going into the ring, the wrestling ring, the boxing ring, and now there's these ninja cage fights. I don't watch them personally, but I don't have any problem with them. If you want to, if you enjoy that, great. But again, those two people have signed a contract and they know when they go into that ring what could happen. When they get out of that ring, just like shaking hands at the end of a ball game, they should do the same. And they do at the end of the ring. They do. They congratulate each other. And that's the way we need to be in life. We've got to quit finding wrong. Every time you go somewhere, someone's got something negative to say based on their culture, based on their learning, or watching the news. How can we get us beyond that trap?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I think it's just a daily endeavor to just to do something to make this world a better place. And circling back, you talk about um, prison, and part of my journey, I've done a lot of different, work with men's groups, led men's groups, facilitated men's groups. One of the things I did is went into prisons and spent time with inmates. And if you've ever done, the first time you do it, it's incredibly intimidating. You walk through those sally ports and you hear those gates slam behind you. You're like, "Ooh, all right, I guess it's real now." And you're in the prison with the inmate. You're in there. One thing I realized is I would sit there with these inmates. There was such a fine line separated my life from their life, and
Good point.
you really start to understand that appreciation. And some, just again, kind of go back to what did they learn? And growing up, they learned, hey, there's whatever. They didn't have any of those people to show them how to live a good life, how to live a life to be a productive citizen. And got them in, some wrong crowds. And
But one of those things too, Robert, sorry to interrupt you there, but I want to make sure we kind of maybe touch on both sides of the issue. And our judicial system right now is in a major struggle between judges that will let one person offer something, but not let another person offer something.
Right.
And, we all hear the lawyer jokes, the ambulance chasing jokes, whatever you want to talk about a lawyer. There's a million lawyer jokes out there. Well, have you ever thought about what a judge is? Isn't the judge just another lawyer with 5 or more years of adversarial experience? You say, adversarial? Well, what do you mean by adversarial? Well, right, wrong, good, bad, likes you, doesn't like you, likes your family, likes your money. That's what judges are like too many times. Are there great judges out there? Absolutely. 80% of them are awesome. But there's that 20%, just like the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. And it's not exactly 80-20, but there are way too many judges out there that judge based on feelings instead of law. And then I could get into the law picture. Has anyone read the law? Our legislature, who we elect, are writing laws in what's called legalese. Can you understand it? I can't understand it, but I'm supposed to follow it. Tax laws. Have you ever looked at the tax laws? But you have to file taxes every year? No, that's why we have to hire somebody, because they're the ones that will be talking to the lawyers, our judicial system, if something goes wrong. So there's so much of our system right now that we're not focusing on that positive. And again, it's down to our judicial system. But then in our legislative system, who are not writing the laws so we can understand them, and I'm not going to a religious side either,
Mhm.
but you believe in the Bible? Awesome. I do. But I have interpretations, I have translations of what was said in the Bible. Have you ever seen translations or interpretations of
Yeah.
our law? No. What happens? It just goes up to the Supreme Court to the next judge makes a decision. Well, this judge didn't work, that judge didn't work, appeals court,
Yeah.
Supreme Court. It's again someone's opinion, but it's not written, it's not translated. So you and I, the people who are supposed to follow the law, can understand it and act upon it. Right?
Mhm. I agree. I agree. And it's just yeah. And Imperfection has its people that shine and has its bad apples, and part of what you're saying there too is where I can see a lot of this anger coming from, because a lot of the pillars of our community, for those things that we think about that hold up our society, some aren't doing a good job of that right now, and they have themselves to blame. But it's going to take people of character and principle to bring that back.
And that's
And
right. If someone says something about that pillar, like you said, you made a very good point. The pillars of strength is supposed to hold us up. And when they're going wrong and someone says something, but someone lets it go, they say, well, that's okay in this case, that's okay in that case, and they allow it to continue to happen. And what does that do to our
yeah,
structure? What does that do to our values?
I agree. That's where that tribalism comes in. It's all right if my guy does it and says it, but it's not good if he does it and says it. That's tribalism. 100% tribalism. And we've got to stop being tribal. And,
That's right.
call a wrong. If, my guy does something wrong, I got to be willing to call it out. Just because, he did it wrong, we can't, parse hairs there. So that's tribalism. And, to be an effective society, we need to be unified to understand what is right, what is wrong, and be principled about it.
Exactly. And that's one of the things. And I mentioned, again, Broncos because I live there, Saints because I was born here. But if it's a good game, I'm sorry. I'm going to enjoy the game. But what if somebody
Yeah.
on one of those teams did something wrong? Am I going to say, oh, no, they're on my team. It's okay that they do wrong?
Yeah.
Well, what about another team in another state? If they do the same thing,
Yeah.
are they wrong? Are they not wrong because
Yeah.
their fans say that it's okay?
Yeah.
We've got to come together on what our law says and be able to read it and understand it, not just legalese,
Mhm.
not just where the lawyers understand it, but we've got to truly think about what we want to be, what we want to become, and make sure that we understand what the rules are and we're not into favoritism. Because, like you said, tribal, we
Yeah.
want good tribal. We want us to be working for the good tribe, and there are so many out there from the time our country was formed. We want to make sure that our tribe is working toward the good. We want to be able to make it work, make it happen by working together, helping each other. Let others help you without feeling bad about it. Be open to being helped as we help others, because we need to come together, whether on a football team, baseball team, basketball team, wherever you are, whatever you do,
Mhm.
what is right and what is wrong. There's going to be small iterations that, well, that's not that bad. Well, how bad is that? But overall, if you
Yeah.
shoot somebody, for example, that was a decision. That's not a circumstance. That's
Mhm.
not a happening. That's not an accident. You carried the gun up on
Yeah.
the roof. I'm sorry. There is nothing to be said about that. We've got to be able to have
Yeah.
a system. And see, I'm sorry, I could get on this all day long because it also goes into our executive system. What about, I feel for our police officers. I just feel for them because of what
Mhm.
they're up against. Because again, the laws are written by the
Yeah.
legislature, by the city council, by the counties that they're supposed to follow. They do all they're supposed to do to arrest someone and do what's right. And then that judge can throw it out because of some idiosyncrasy that came
Yeah.
about. And then you have that small amount again of police officers that aren't being valuable. They're not being trustworthy. And then what does that do to all the good police officers? It brings them down. That's what we have to work on, is be able to award and work with the police officers that are doing what we're asking them to do, the laws that we're asking them to
Mm-hmm.
follow. And if I break a law and there's a police officer coming to me and I've done wrong, I've got to be able to accept that. If a police officer comes to me and arrests me,
Yeah.
I no reason for me to fight it. If I've done something wrong, quit doing something wrong to be better. And then there's situations where the police officers don't know what to
Yeah.
do and they start shooting. And maybe it's prejudicial. That's wrong. Why? Where did they learn that?
Mm.
Where did they get that culture? Where's that learning coming from, Rob?
Yeah. Sometimes we just got to we got to be willing to get out of that comfort zone that we've created, and take a step, and stop hating and being prejudicial. That's the thing. And I mean, sadly, that's something that's just kind of a stain that's always been on our country. And it's just not our country; it's around the world. Hate and prejudice is something that's always, because we can't let anybody different in. They're different. I can't guide, but are we really that different? Are we really, really that different when you get right down to it?
I agree with you. I don't think we are. I think we all want to be able to live a good life, but too much of, like you're saying, around the world, we see too much of the hate, the anger, and that prejudice, and we follow it without thinking. And that's the first place we have to stop. I've come up with a couple of
Yeah.
acronyms that I work with on just that term, well, on all the terms as far as hate, anger, and prejudice. Come up with acronyms that will
Hmm.
help us remember what those are. And as far as hate,
Yeah.
when we hate something or hate somebody, whether it be a football team, basketball team, race, creed, anything, that hate is nothing more than having accelerated, troubled expectations. HATE, hate. Having accelerated, troubled expectations. Why do people expect that kind of trouble up front without any bias, without any reason? Why do they have that hate for something that could easily be improved? That's what we need to
Hmm.
focus on. And instead of having that hate, that having accelerated troubled expectations, let's have some help. HELP, having
Yeah.
excellent leadership plans. You talked about leaders earlier. We need more
Yeah.
leaders. We can all do that by having excellent leadership plans. And I'm not talking about a CEO somewhere. I'm not talking about some CIOs, chief information officer, chief financial officer, any of the C suite. I'm talking about you and me, theoretically normal,
Yeah.
heartfelt, good Americans. We are leaders. And what we
Hmm.
do is
Hmm.
the outcome of us leading our own life based on knowing the difference between good and bad, the difference between
Yeah.
pain and pleasure. And we can do that helping each other instead of having those accelerated, troubled expectations.
Hmm.
I
Yep.
can go into
And
anger as well if you'd like
it's
to. I can. There's
yeah,
simple things
yeah,
we can do with it.
yeah. Talk about
Let me,
that.
let me talk about. Sure, thank you, Rob. I appreciate it. And it's some of the things are simple, and people don't want them to be simple. They why? And again, when I talk about people, it's usually the 20%. Again, the 80-20 rule. 20% of people control the world. It's not exactly 20%, but 20% of the people cause the problems. 20% of the extreme on
Yeah.
either side cause the problems, and it creates anger. ANGER, anger. Actions not gaining effective results. That's all anger is. Anger is just an action
Yeah.
not gaining effective results. What is the result that you're looking for when you become
Hmm.
angry? When I become angry, I yell, I scream, I jump up and down, I throw something. Wow, boy, is that impressive. Do you think you could ever film me being angry and being proud of the picture? It's not a video. I'd want to get onto the internet. I know that for sure. Anger is nothing more than actions not gaining effective results. So what do we need to do? We need to be calm. CALM, calm. Canceling anger, leading motivation. Calm, CALM. Canceling anger, leading motivation. We can motivate ourselves to be better, to do better, and not be angry. Anger doesn't get us anywhere. Where is the value? There is none. Again, who wants to be found being angry and have that hit the internet? Who would enjoy that? You mentioned earlier about like if you work somebody that worked for you did something like that person, for lack of better terms, that tried to assassinate the president, you'd fire him right away. Who is going to hire you with that
Yeah.
kind of anger? I think you made a good point.
Yeah.
Anybody that's wanting to grow or
Yeah.
achieve in life and they have that kind of anger, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know why people think that that impresses them. Now, I'm not saying that I am not saying I'm walking the earth being perfect by any means. But it's like my son said when he was young, he said, "You have like 10 seconds of anger." 10 seconds of anger, what does that mean? He said, "Well, you get mad and I can see it come across your face, but it's kind of like you keep it inside or something." Wow. I took that as a compliment because I don't let my anger get
Yeah.
out on others. My anger is mine.
Yeah.
And if I
Yeah.
put it on someone else, I am only trying to be in charge of something that's not mine. They are not mine. If I do something to them, that's not valuable. I keep that in within myself, and that's the way anger is. But then we come to prejudice.
Mhm.
Why is anyone prejudiced? I was born in southern Mississippi, as I mentioned. It was during some of the struggles and the integration in the black families and the whole process of growing. Well, we moved from southern Mississippi out to southeastern New Mexico. Now here I am, 7 years old, between the second and third grade, and moved from a theoretically high black community to a high Hispanic community. Wow, what's the difference? How was that any difference? Red, yellow, black, brown, or white, we all need to be professional in each other's sight and stop looking at a skin color as a problem. We all have the same brains, we all have the same
Yeah.
ideas, all attitudes that we pick up. So back then, prejudice was poor reactions echoing jealousy and undermined delivery of an immature and cruel ego.
Mhm.
Prejudice. Poor reactions echoing jealousy undermined delivery of immature and cruel ego. That's what it is was then. That's what it is today. So what do we do? Well, let's turn that term prejudice into positive reactions, echoing justice and understanding delivered inclusion by creating excellence. Again, Prejudice, positive reactions, echoing justice and understanding delivered inclusion by creating excellence. Each and every one of us, red, yellow, black, brown, or white, there is no reason for any of us to fight. We are the same. We're human. In my speech, I talk about blood types, what I call love circulation, lovecirculation.com. Now, if you have A positive blood, you need A positive blood. Do you care if it comes from a red, yellow, black, brown, or white person? If your child is injured in the hospital, do you care if that blood comes from someone else? What if they smoke? What if they have too many tattoos? What if they wear
Yeah.
too many earrings? Do you care? No, you want your child to live. You want that blood. It could be your parents, your grandparents, your children, your siblings, but you want them to live. And we need to know that that person that we may be angry with may have an acceptable blood type that may help me or my children
Yeah.
or my family live if they were to give blood and I was in the hospital. Why would we feel bad or negative toward anyone that could help save mine or someone else's in my family's life?
Yeah, and I guess. I mean, what you're saying resonates. It's in the blood, and my son at one point in his life, he had some medical issues. I don't know how many blood transfusions he had. He had multiple. I mean, I goes in the. I have no idea where that blood came from. No clue. But it was what he needed in order to live. And we need to be united in who we are as people, and I think that's what's important. Um,
I
said,
agree.
I mean, I
And
don't have to agree. I don't have to agree with everything that someone says, but I can validate the opinion. I think it's the important thing. Validation is something that's so powerful. Don't agree with it. I can validate that your belief, and that's fine. That's fine. But maybe you have a different belief, and maybe listening to you maybe changes my belief a little bit. Because I'll be honest, my beliefs have changed over time. My political beliefs, I believe in uh, 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 different things that have definitely changed over time and morph. And that's, I don't want to be static with my life. I want to live my life and going with flow. I call it living out abundance. And the people with the that mindset that they don't want to be with anybody else. That's a scarcity mindset. That's living out of scarcity. So
yes, and that's the same for me. I was in an automobile accident right after my high school year, and critical accident, major head trauma, scars on my back. I was in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Who gave that
yeah,
blood that kept me alive? Do you think my parents cared? No. You talk about each and every one
no,
of us need to come together in unity. We need to build upon that and learn that we are all able to help each other, to be friends, to be
yes, yes,
workmates. We can do so much together being in that unity instead of being that point of going into that rage. RAGE, rampant
yeah,
actions going egotistical. I think our egos is something that we need to work on. We don't need to be going
yeah,
crazy about some of this stuff. Each one of us, as you mentioned, Rob, it's the point of having different ideas, and we don't want to go to the bad side or the negative side or the extreme side of anything, including your political or your
mhm,
affiliation. We don't want to go to the extreme of any side because we know that it's all of us together that makes that law, even though we need to write it in more English terms, but it's all of us. It's the legislature. It's not just the president. There is so much that
yeah,
we do on a day to day basis in our work, in our schools. It's all of us coming together, being positive about our actions, and helping each other grow in spite of any other hate, anger, prejudice, or culture. We need to work together to be better going forward so we can achieve more, do more, and enjoy each other more, right?
yes. I agree. I agree. So I know we've said quite a bit. We said a lot of we said a mouthful. Have we solved world problems? I don't know. Maybe we have. I don't know. I don't know. But I know we're kind of coming up on here. So if people want to reach out to you, this website this is obviously the best place.
Thank you.
And then
But you're kingdom builders
so
too. If
I
you want
spent
to
some
talk
time
about,
last night.
I like your kingdom builders also,
Yeah,
Rob. And I
and
think
I
what
spent
you're
last
doing.
night with your Unity guide. Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you, thank you. I spent some time last night with your Unity guide. It's a great asset.
Thank you.
Go to his website and check this out. And you've also mentioned that you have a blog site as well. And I know how do you post on this?
I'm sorry.
How do you post on the how often do you
Oh,
post on your how many blogs? How often do you post a blog?
I post 2 articles every other week. The first and third Thursdays of every month, I post an article on my website, and I'm starting to do more with LinkedIn and Facebook. Facebook, we all have to be careful on the personal side, but I'm posting those 2 articles with my blog on my newsletter at www.markentricken.com or www.achievingunity.com. And I'd like to have some feedback
Hmm.
because as we talk about, it's not my idea. Some of the things I talk about are the things that you and I know. everyone listening to this podcast. Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
But what can we do? And I think you talk about it, and that's why I brought up the Kingdom Builders again. You talk about action, Rob, and I was impressed by that. We can plan all day long. We can plan and plan and plan. But if we don't do something with that plan, right? Where are we going to be tomorrow?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So great.
And I'll talk
I
about
have
that.
loved this conversation. I've loved this conversation. And people like you, me out there, and there's plenty of people that have our, share what we talk about here. And I know Ken was kind of chiming in here. I know he definitely shares some of these same beliefs. But take that step. Don't be so timid. If you see something wrong, you see a mindset that's wrong, just stand out. And be that difference maker, because that's what we need now more than ever. People willing to make a difference. So, I mean, you have any parting wisdom before we call this one a day here?
I don't. The biggest one is if you want to reach me, you can call me at 303 Focused, FOCUSED. That is 303-362-8733. Let's work together. And if you can help me get to be able to speak at another university or another corporation, association, let's work together to get this information out. And it's you and I, everyone listening to this podcast.
Yes.
We need to step forward. We
Yeah.
do see that our presidential campaign right now is going more to the unity. We're going more to caring. And I want to be able to help them with a path that I think you and I both know can help. But until we teach them, why do we go to school? Is everything we learn in school rocket science? Absolutely not. But what we learn is what we can put together to build a better tomorrow for all of us. That's why we learn our math, our science, our English. That's what we need to do also with our cultures. And sometimes it's not, again, rocket science, but we haven't put it together because of some of our learnings, which is not anyone's fault. School systems are improving all the time. Let's help them continue to improve. But if you could help me get into another speaking stage and speak to more people, universities, corporations, associations, organizations, help me get out there. Let me help you in the same. Let's make this world a better place, one reality at a time.
That's it. Let's make the world a better place, and we all each and every day have an opportunity to do that. Focus on what's in front of you, right there. Quit hanging to yesterday, worrying about tomorrow. Focus on the same call today, because that's where all the opportunity exists to make this world a better place. But Mark, I really appreciate this conversation. I appreciate you coming on the Imperfect Action live stream and sharing some great insights.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this. And as I mentioned earlier, I appreciate what you do. Sorry.
Yeah. And more and more people need to have these conversations and seek out those conversations with people that maybe think differently than you. Seek out those conversations with them. That's how we're going to come together. Simple as that. It's the only way. So, well, Mark, I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody stopping by the Imperfect Action live stream. Again, we'll be going live next Wednesday, July 24th. That's special day. It's actually my birthday next Wednesday, July 24th. So there you go. I'll be on the Imperfect Action
Happy
live
pre-birthday.
stream. But let's make this a great week. Let's bring people together. Yes, yeah. Happy early birthday. Yes, sir. Let's make this a great day, great week. And let's do what we can, people, to bring our country and society back together. If you have an opinion, take that step of imperfect action and do what you need to do. Peace out, everyone.
Right.